Speech off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do my September wrap-up. It's a few days later than I would normally do it, but life happens. I'm gonna kind of talk about some books quickly because I already went over them, or I'm going to go over them. Well, let's just get into it. So the first grouping I'm going to talk about is the Babysitter's Club books. I went back to my read of the series. I kind of stalled just because I wasn't interested in the specials, but my weird brain is forcing me to read them because I like things in order. So first I read New York, New York, Babysitter's Club Super Special number 6. I gave this one 3 stars. It was fine. They go to New York to visit Stacy's dad for 2 weeks. Mallory and Claudia have lessons with this famous art teacher. It's very, I don't know. I don't really get into the super specials, but I like to go in order that the podcast that we listen to, or that I listen to, says to go in. So that was the order. Then they went over Stacy and the Missing Ring, Babysitter's Club Mystery number 1. I've never read the mysteries before, so that's interesting. In this one, Stacy, at the beginning of the story, honestly, I would probably do this too if I had divorced parents. I always half joked, was half serious with my parents that they fight so much, but I never got to like benefit from their fighting, because it's like, as a blind person, I was kind of spoiled and I would turn them against each other. So I always half joked, I'm like, if you guys had divorced, I would have had so much fun, because I would have been able to like, but Dad would give me this, which is what Stacy does in this book, where she's like, her mom doesn't want to buy her this diamond ring she wants. And it's not even just because she doesn't have the money. It's because it's expensive and not a necessary gift. And Stacy shoots back with, Dad would get it. I'm like, yep, that's what I would do if I was a divorced kid. Anyway, so then Stacy, shortly after her mother says no about the ring and she throws a tantrum, she gets a babysitting job, and a diamond ring goes missing. And so part of you kind of wonders, did Stacy take the ring? Did she not? Hence Stacy and the Missing Ring. So it's a mystery of finding out who actually took the ring. Then I read Christy and the Baby Parade, Babysitter's Club number 5. Number 45, not 5. I give this one 3 stars. This one was a reread. I'd read this one before, because this one was one of the ones that was available in Braille back in my school days, and it was okay. They enter a bunch of the BSC babies in a parade. It was a disaster. They also take some baby caring classes, which was interesting. So yeah, 3 stars. It was fine. Nothing to brag about. And the last Babysitter's Club book I read this month was Marianne and Mrs. Logan, Babysitter's Club number 46. I gave it 2 stars. I always give the more middle schooly heavy books a lower rating, especially now that I'm an adult. Like, I don't care about Logan and Marianne's relationship, but so, like, Ravenclaw reads, she's also reading these, and she's the opposite of me. She gets more into the middle school drama, and I'm just like, I don't care about that. I like the books that cover family issues and just social issues in general. That's why I like the series. But this one was completely Marianne's love life. Her and Logan have been broken up for a while. They get stuck doing a school project together, and that brings them together. Also enter Cokie Mason. Cokie sucks. And not even the babysitting story was interesting, because a lot of times, even the middle school drama has at least a side plot that I'm interested in with the kids that they babysit for, where, they're, there's just something interesting happening. So, yeah. Anyway. But this one, they were scared of the toilet monster. I don't care. So 2 stars. Bad Babysitter's Club month this month. Let's see. What other book can I talk about quickly? Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I did a slow read of this one. I gave this 5 stars. I am going to do a spoilery review on it as soon as I finish getting my thoughts together. I'm still kind of taking notes. It's kind of been interesting to read slowly and sort of take notes on my thoughts as I go through. It's a long process. but I'm almost done. Anyway, and then I read the last 2 books in the Guiding Emily series, which were Over Every Hurdle and Down the Aisle. I gave them both 4 stars. I talked about those in a review video that I posted earlier in the month, so I'm not going to go over those again. Let's see, DNFs. Let's go over those next so we can get to the long stuff. So the first one I DNF'd was The Cottage Around the Corner by D.L. Soria. This is one of the indie press list reads from currently reading. It sounds like it's about a witch and a mage, and they're competing for... They both have spell shops, and one of them is about to close, and... It sounded interesting in the description, you know, kind of a romantic comedy, a witchy romantic comedy, but there was swear words every other word, and I'm like, okay, I am not precious about swear words. I am not one of those who's going to, like, DNF a book for some bad language, but there's some bad language where, like, it's necessary, I think, you know, where it just goes with it, and then it's, like, too much, and this was too much. So, I ditched it. And then, what else did I DNF? Night Watching by Tracy Sierra. I had saved this one to read around this time of year because it's supposed to be scary. It's about this woman and her 2 kids. They're alone in a stormy night, and there's an intruder and all of that. But I was just... It's too literary, if that makes sense. Like, and she describes so much of the scene that I don't care. I'm not in the story. And also, apparently they don't have any names for people, so it was really hard to keep track. Like, instead of saying Paul, or whatever the kid's name is, because we don't know his name, she says her son, or the little boy, and it's like, it's just not personal. It annoyed me. Lots of people apparently don't mind, but I did, so it went away. Then I DNF'd Beware the Woman by Megan Abbott. This one was really interesting to me when I read the description. It's about this woman who, a couple, they go to visit her father-in-law, and she's pregnant, and I guess stuff starts to happen, and she starts to wonder if he means her harm, or what? Or if she's just crazy and she just needs bed rest, because things keep happening with the pregnancy, so it's kind of a scary book. And so I was kind of interested, because I'm like, okay, what is this? But not even 10 pages into it, there was already a bedroom scene. I was like, oh, come on. Really? We're doing this here? Gross. Anyway. Yeah. I was done immediately, and too bad, too, because I can't return it. I got it years ago, and I meant to read it, and now I can't. Now I have the audio forever, and I hate it. Anyway. So, yeah, that. Bye-bye. I also have The Turnout, which is about ballet by the same author, which sucks because I can't return that either. And I don't know if I'll like it. Maybe there's less sex scenes because they're too busy with ballet, hopefully, because that one also sounded good. But now I don't know if I'm going to like this author. And the last one I DNF'd was Model Home by River Solomon, another indie press list book. Really, I think a lot of the... I went insane over this month's currently reading indie press list, and it's not normal that I like every single book in the list, that they all sound good, but they all sounded good, and I ended up almost DNFing all of them. Thankfully, I did not DNF all of them. I liked a couple, but still, bad. That was too good to be true that I would like them all. I think I DNF'd 3 out of 5 that I bought, but I'm not going to email LibreFM again to say, hey, can I DNF this next one? Because I already emailed them twice this month, and I got 2 credits back. They're going to think I'm using them for a public library, so I'm going to have to keep it. Anyway, so yeah, that is all the ones that I DNF'd. Now let us start with the actual books that I read. The first one is actually one that I did not DNF from the indie press list. A Grim Reaper's Guide to Catching a Killer, Scythe number 1 by Maxi Dara. I gave this one 5 stars. This was hilarious. This is about Kathy Valance. She's 42, mid-divorce, and pregnant with her ex's baby. She's also a modern-day Grim Reaper employed by Scythe, which stands for Secure Collection, Yielding, and Transportation of Human Essences. Basically, she has to, like, transport people's souls. And she loses one. And when she finally tracks down Connor Ortiz, I guess his ghost, his soul, whatever, he insists that somebody killed him. He didn't die of natural causes, so she has to figure out who did it. So, yeah. It's kind of funny because she's the only one who can see his kind of ghosty shape, so yeah, he's like stalking her and stuff, and she's trying to like conduct these interviews to figure out who killed him, and he's like making commentary in the background, and it's really funny. So yeah, I'm looking for the next book in the series. I had fun with it. Then I read Between Flowers and Bones by Carolyn Leelaglu. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I give it some 3 stars. This is the second book in the Restorationist series. The first one is Beneath the Swirling Sky. This is a Christian fiction fantasy series about people who are called restorationists who can kind of travel between paintings and jump into paintings and stuff. I did not like this one as much as I liked the first one, because the first one was about Vincent, and this one's about Vincent's cousin, and this girl is annoying, but alright. Anyway, it's a good series. There's some Jesus references, so yeah. Then I read Wayward by Amelia Hart. I gave this one 4 stars. I heard from, I think her name is Betsy Reeds, that a lot of Christian fiction readers have been DNFing this, and she wondered why, and I'm going to tell you even why I think it's being DNF'd, even though this could be considered a spoiler, but I think I'm doing what I wish someone had done for me. Because if I had known, I wouldn't have read it, but by the time I saw it, I was too into it and too invested in one of the characters to put it down. So, I'm just going to read the description. I am a wayward and wild inside. 2019. Under cover of darkness, Kate flees London for ramshackle wayward cottage, inherited from a great aunt she barely remembers. With its tumbling ivy and overgrown garden, the cottage is worlds away from the abusive partner who tormented Kate. But she begins to suspect that her great aunt had a secret, one that lurks in the bones of the cottage, hidden ever since the witch hunts of the 17th century. So that is the storyline that got me invested. But the problematic stuff happens with the other 2 storylines, kind of. 1619. Althea is awaiting trial for the murder of a local farmer who was stamped to death by his herd. As a girl, Althea's mother taught her their magic, a kind of not rooted in spellcasting, but in a deep knowledge of the natural world. But unusual women have always been deemed dangerous, and as the evidence for witchcraft sets out against her, she knows it will take all of her powers to maintain her freedom. 1942. As World War II rages, Violet is trapped in her family's grand crumbling estate. Straitjacketed by societal conventions, she longs for the robust education her brother receives, and for her mother, long deceased, who was rumored to have gone mad before her death. The only traces Violet has of her are a locket bearing the initials W and the word wayward scratched into the baseboard of her bedroom. Weaving together the stories of 3 extraordinary women across 5 centuries, Amelia Hart's is an enthralling novel of female resilience and the transformative power of the natural world. So yeah, essentially that's really what it is. The problem, well, And I really did get invested in all three stories. Like, the Witch Trials is interesting. And in the 1942 story, there is basically all the men in the story royally suck. So, like, this is all about women power and women working together, and you see men take their power and abuse the women in different ways, including assault in one case. But that assault also leads to a very graphic description. Well, really, there's a couple of different abortion descriptions in this book that I wasn't expecting to see. So I'm wondering if that's why some people DNF it. I guess it really depends on your views on the subject. I'm not going to get into that with anyone. But, yeah. It is abortion due to unconsensual creation of a child, so to speak. So you do with that what you will. And on that note, I will go to the next book. The Crescent Moon Tea Room by Stacy Savinsky. I gave it 3 stars. This is another indie press list one that I actually did finish. A cozy and uplifting debut novel about 3 clairvoyant sisters who face an unexpected twist of fate at the bottom of their own delicate porcelain cups. Ever since the untimely death of their parents, Anne, Beatrix, and Violet Quigley have made a business of threading together the stories that rest in the swirls of ginger, cloves, and cardamom at the bottom of their customers' cups. Their days at the tea shop are filled with talk of butterflies and good fortune intertwined with the sound of cinnamon shortbread being snapped by laced fingers. That is until the Council of Witches comes calling with news that the city diviner has lost her powers, and the sisters suddenly find themselves being pulled in different directions. As Anne's magic begins to develop beyond that of her sisters, Beatrix's writing attracts the attention of the publisher, and Violet is enchanted by the song of the circus and perhaps a mischievous trapeze artist threatening to sweep her off her feet. It seems a family curse that threatens to separate the sisters is taking effect. With dwindling time to rewrite their future and help 3 other witches challenge their own destinies, the Quigleys set out to bargain with fate, but in focusing so closely on saving each other, will they lose sight of themselves? So basically they think that life, sending them in different directions is a curse, which, yeah, it's weird. I just didn't care because it's like, okay, go to the circus. Go write your book. Why are we obsessing over we all have to be in the same tea shop forever and never change? You weirdos. So I just wasn't that invested, but I wasn't so, like, upset that I wouldn't finish it either. So yeah. Then we have The Love of My Afterlife by Christy Greenwood. I love this one. I gave it 4 stars. Kirsty Greenwood. I heard about this one also from the Currently Reading podcast. A recently deceased woman meets the one in the afterlife waiting room, scoring a second chance at life and love if she can find him on Earth before 10 days are up. If she wasn't dead already, Delphi would be dying of embarrassment. Not only did she just die by choking on a microwavable burger, she's also now standing in her sparkle and shine nightie in front of the hottest man she's ever seen. And he's smiling at her. As they start to chat, everything else becomes background noise. That is, until someone comes running through a door, yelling something about a huge mistake, and sends the dream stranger back down to Earth. And here Delphi was thinking her luck might be different in the afterlife. When Delphi is offered a deal in which she can return to Earth and reconnect with the mysterious man, she jumps at the opportunity to find her possible soulmate and a fresh start. But to find him in a city of millions, Delphi is going to have to listen to her heart, learn to ask for help, and perhaps even see the magic in the life she's leaving behind. So yeah, she's like looking for this guy. And she has 10 days to find him, and let's just say there's a lot of stalking involved when she does find him. Because this guy has no idea who she is because he doesn't remember her from the afterlife. So she's like, I have to kiss you! At one point. I mean, it's hilarious. This book is wild. There is some swearing, but it's, like, funny. And, like, inappropriate moments where anyone would probably swear. Anyway. And then I read Never Been Witched by Molly Harper. It's the third book in the Starfall Point series. I gave it 4 stars. Can't really talk about it, so. Then, let's see. Let me skip past my DNF. I read No Child of Mine by Nichelle Brewaldis. I gave it 4 stars. I heard about this one from Chloe from Always Booked a while back ago. And, who else? I think Book Talk, etc. talked about it. But there's this curse, in Essie's family, and, apparently if you get pregnant, you lose your significant other soon after, and we kind of find out the origins of this curse, and as her pregnancy kind of goes by, you sort of, see kind of the curse taking effect, like, her husband starts to be, like, haunted and freaked out, and, you know, she's like, I don't believe in ghosts, they don't exist. It was a little freaky, but I was invested enough to finish it. Kind of a perfect Halloween book, which is what I thought it would be. And we find out the origin of the curse and why it happened, who said it, that kind of thing, so. Then I read one that made me bawl my eyes out, The Last Days of Us by Carolyn Finnerty. She's become an author that I like. Oops, my phone's gonna die soon.
Speech on. 20% battery remaining. Low power mode. Stop. Speech off. Speech on. Stop recording video.
No,
Button.
stop recording video.
Speech off.
Okay, I gotta finish this quick. So The Last Days of Us by Carolyn Finnerty. She is an Irish author that I've come to love. I think this is my 3rd book by her in the last couple of months. I have a bunch of her books I just bought because I was really into them. So in this one, it's about a family, Sarah and JP, and they have 2 children. Harry is 9 and Robin is 4. And JP announces on Christmas Day that he's leaving Sarah for another woman. And Sarah's devastated. And, you know, she thinks her life can't get any worse. And then Robin gets diagnosed with a brain tumor, and it's the last days of us, right? So you kind of guess where this is going. She has, as soon as I heard the diagnosis, I knew it wasn't good because I know too much about cancer. I won't say why, but yeah. It was a tearjerker, and there's actually also like a court battle because they're fighting over how best to care for Robin. And yeah, some people hated JP, but I found him pretty human. And yeah, this book made me bawl my eyes out. Then I thought, okay, let's lighten the mood a little with some kidnapping. So I read The Child Next Door by Shalini Boland. I was looking for a thriller or something. And I have some Shalini Boland books that I haven't read from like forever ago that I bought, probably during Audible Daily Deals. So basically, Kirsty Rawlings is asleep, and she's awoken by her baby monitor, somebody talking, and they're saying, take the child. And so she runs up to check on her baby, and her baby's still in there, but she can hear this voice through the baby monitor, and she's kind of has to figure out, she like reports a kidnapping, but there's no babies on her street, so and the police don't believe her. You know, they think she's a stressed out new mom, and so they dismiss her, and so she has to figure out what that is. So, yeah. Then I read The Lake House by Kate Morton. Finally, I gave this 5 stars. I loved this book a lot. I know I will like every Kate Morton book. The problem is they're just so long, and it's like I need to convince myself to read them, but once you're in them, you're in it. And this one was really good. Kelly from Kelly Reads a Lot read this one, I think, a while ago, and she liked it. But yeah, it's about the 1933 storyline. Alice Edavani is, she's preparing for her family's Midsummer Eve party at their lake house. And by midnight, her baby brother goes missing, and they never figure out what happened to him. And 70 years later, after a troubling case, Detective Sadie Sparrow retreats to her grandfather's cottage in Cornwall, and she decides that she's going to try to figure out what happened to this missing baby. And thus begins a twisty, turny, wild historical thriller, and I was in it all the way. So yeah, like, that went through some twists I wasn't expecting. You think you get it one minute and you don't, and it's wild. Although I have to say, she could have taken a little bit out and made it a little shorter. I don't think you needed every single, like, I don't really care about the older generation's dating. We don't need to do this. But it was still a great read. So yeah. Then I finally read The Witch of Blackbird Pond by Elizabeth George Spear. I kept hearing about this one everywhere. Alma's book journey. I think Old American Spirit also talked about it in her fall list. So, yeah. So, it's about Kit Tyler. She moved to the Connecticut colony from Caribbean island. The Caribbean island. And she moves into this Puritan community that's like super religious and stern, and she befriends this older woman that they call the Witch of Blackbird Pond, and you know, where she lives, the village doesn't want her befriending her, and they tell her to stay away from her, and she doesn't, and eventually they accuse her of witchcraft, and it's a whole thing. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, weirdly enough. Then I read Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This is another indie press list book. This one was fun. Gave it 4 stars. Belladonna Blackthorn hasn't lost her magical spark, but she hasn't seen it in a while either. Balancing work at her beloved Lunar Books with protecting it from her toxic boss who's running it into the ground, and all the while concealing her witchcraft from the non-wicks around her, Belle is burned out. Perfecting the potential of her magic is the last thing on her mind. But when her 30th birthday brings a summons from her coven and a trial that tests her worthiness as a witch, Belle risks losing her magic forever. With the month of October to fix it, and signs that dark forces may be working against her, Belle will need all the help she can get. From the women in her life, from an unlikely mentor figure, and even an infuriatingly handsome watchman who's sworn to protect her. So yeah, she's trying to make sure she doesn't lose her magic, and it was okay. Like, the watchman love interest was a little annoying, but you know, whatever, it's fine. I enjoyed it for what it was, and the old guy that mentors her is really cool. He's funny. So yeah, and I don't think there's swearing in this one, so I think potentially it's a clean read. And the last book I'm going to talk about is a middle grade that I discovered like right at the end of the month from the Currently Reading podcast. And then Chatty the Mad Chatter talked about it in her, like, I think it was like a new reads video or something, like middle grade awards or something video. She talked about like the top new middle grade, whatever. Anyway, it's The Pumpkin Princess and the Forever Knight by Stephen Banbury. So, this one was great. A spooky yet heartwarming adventure about one girl's journey into the land of the undead and the unexpected family she finds along the way. On Halloween, it is always wise to expect the unexpected, but no amount of planning could have prepared Eve for that particular night. Fleeing an unpleasant orphanage, she's saved by someone who she never believed was real, the fabled Pumpkin King himself. Throwing caution aside, Eve accepts the offer to become his daughter and is whisked away to the misty Hollowell Valley, home to witches and vampires, ghosts and goblins, and all that go bump in the night. But just as she believes she's found her place among the undead, a sinister scheme unearths itself, threatening to take everything from Eve unless she can stop it. This is so fun. Like, all the mythical creatures in the land of the undead are, like, really fun. And she befriends a vampire who likes people food, and eats it anyway, even though it makes him sick, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I give it 4 stars, and the father-daughter relationship between her and the Pumpkin King is so sweet. So yeah, it was a pretty good spooky read, and kind of eclectic too. So yeah, that is what I read this month. We'll see what I get up to next month. It's kind of packed full of readathons, so yeah. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!
Speech on. Stop recording video. Stop recording video.